Howdy y'all and welcome back. So I am an AK noob, but I recently picked up my first AK, a WBP jack, and knew when I got it that I wanted kind of a resto mod vibe, right? If you're into car culture. So something that looks classic, but also has modern touches. And knew that I wanted to put an optic on it, and had read in the forums that the side rail, the mounting rail, is a little wider on WBPs, and so that can cause problems with getting your optic directly over bore. Being OCD, that wasn't going to stand. But then I discovered that RS Regulate mounts are adjustable. So you've got like a two-piece kind of situation. You have the bottom piece and then a top piece, and this you purchase specifically for whatever optic you want to put on it. Right? So figured micro dot, something light. It's already a little bit of a heavyish kind of gun. So I went with the forward swept 301M for the base mount, and then the upper mount for like a T2, a micro dot. And then put an MD25 from Primary Arms on there, and immediately discovered while that setup does keep you nice and like close to your bore axis, you can't go thumb over bore. Now I hear you, if you're an AK purist, you don't run your AK thumb over bore or whatever. I don't care. I'm an AR guy and I'm used to running thumb over bore and I want to. So I got to thinking, if I had an Eotech, I bet that would clear plenty of room. And so I had to order a different top piece here to mount an Eotech, and then I had to order the Eotech, which has now blown the budget. I was trying to keep this whole build like in around the $1,500 price point, and we've blown that a little bit. Not terribly, but so now I have the ability to go thumb over bore with absolutely no thumb in my viewfinder. So that is wonderful. I searched and searched all over the YouTubes and could not find a specific video addressing this setup. So here we are. The next question then becomes, well, where do you zero an Eotech on an AK? And again, I'm an AK noob, so don't flame me if you have a different concept in mind of where you should zero. I get it, right? But from the poking around on the internet that I did, I found a pretty good ballistic calculator using a regular dot, like a 2 MOA, I can't remember the model, but on a kind of regular height situation at 35 yards. Meaning, right, obviously your dot is going to be higher than your irons. So if you have an elevated point of view, then you might want to push the regular, like the standard 25 yard zero that you would do on an AK. You might want to push that out a little to like 35. And as it happens, my local FUD range, their 50 yard line is actually like 43 yards. And so I figured that should be about it, right? Normally you zero an Eotech at like 50 for an AR. So we're bringing that in just a little tiny bit. But then it's like, well, okay, now I've got some serious like height over bore going on. How is that going to impact in closer? Well, it's about like you would expect. Actually, I was kind of surprised. It's not as dramatic. And in that intro clip, you just saw the target there with the holes all blown out. That is at 18 yards, and I'm holding dead center of the target, and that's where the rounds are hitting. So plenty serviceable. And then if it's in closer than that, you do what you do on an Eotech, and you use that bottom little hash mark at the bottom of the 65 MOA ring, right? That's actually your bullseye at like 7 yards. So I'm pretty tickled with this setup. The next question you might be wondering is, how solid is it, right? Like, you don't have just a whole lot of material between a fairly large, although this is the XPS 2-0, it's like the budget model. I'm not running nods with this thing or anything. So it's like 8 ounces. It's not that heavy. It's just kind of bulky. But how solid is it, right? Well, I'm not going to Aaron Cowan this and like drop it on its head or whatever, because it's mine and I bought it. So, but maybe to give you an example, if I really crank on that, I can get just the tiniest amount of wiggle. Not much. Not really much at all. So as far as like long-term testing this for durability, all I've done so far is just kind of toss it in the back of my truck, like the carpeted, like not the bed, but the behind the seats. I have like an extended cab, right? And I'll just kind of toss it in there, and it has not moved around at all. So it's at least that solid. Is it going to survive the apocalypse? I don't know. I don't know. But it's, for what I'll be doing with this setup, it's fine. Really, maybe a millimeter of play if I really crank back and forth on it, and then it returns to where it's supposed to be. So I can live with that. Yep. Using the front sight post as a guide, it's right where it wants to be. So sturdy enough for me. If you're in the market and you've been wondering, how does this work? Here you go. This is the video for you. And that's really all I got on this one. I'll keep y'all updated. Only about 250 rounds in so far on the WBP jack, but I'm loving it. I'm not going to mess with tuning the gas or anything like that. We're leaving it just pretty much stock, sort of mostly. And that's it. So thanks for watching, and until next time, be easy, y'all.